These are the houses envisioned by children, homeless children. Each child painted a home on a block of wood. The wood was attached to a bank. The banks were distributed at various locations as a fundraiser for a nonprofit organization. Most of the children who painted these houses now have homes. But these wooden banks remain mounted in the main room of the agency as a reminder of the nonprofit's mission and those still without homes. These volunteers have gotten up early on their day off from their regular job to build a home for a family that would have no house otherwise. They want a hands-on involvement with their community. Successful nonprofit organizations have involved volunteers in creative ways which directly support their mission and tap the extensive talents of today's volunteer pool. Volunteers have emerged from all walks of life, offering skills which are desperately needed in addressing the community's needs. Today's highly effective nonprofit agencies identify volunteerism as a vital component of their success. The value of the volunteer can no longer be recorded by the amount of envelopes stuffed or by the amount of copies made. More and more nonprofit organizations are discovering that volunteerism brings long-term benefits and a greater impact within the community. Teams of staff and volunteers work side by side to build strong, successful organizations. Through the commitment of time, volunteers have contributed more than meets the eye. The time has come for all nonprofits, health and human service agencies, arts and environmental organizations, and more to explore new and innovative uses for today's volunteers. As the face of volunteerism changes, nonprofits are faced with new challenges and tremendous opportunities. This nonprofit agency was created in response to the needs of homeless families residing in emergency night shelters in the community. A group of volunteers recognized that for the homeless parent, daycare is the key to one of the doors leading out of homelessness. The organization provides 3 basic services to homeless families: childcare, health care, and a family resource program.
Our house is a child care and support center for homeless families. We work with families who are living in emergency shelters, and a lot of the families are working to take care of the basic needs of their family. They're living in shelters where there may be 5 or 6 other families living. And even though the families really love their children and want the best for them, they're not always able to give them the kind of individual attention that children at this age need. There's just no way our teachers could manage a classroom of 20 children and give them the kind of one-on-one attention that they need. So our volunteers help out. They make sure that the basic needs are being taken care of, and they spend individual time with each child. That's what a lot of these children need more than anything, just somebody to sit down with them and make them feel special. That's what our volunteers are doing for us.
The Jerusalem House is dedicated to providing a loving, supportive, comfortable environment where people with AIDS can live to the fullest without the fear of being homeless or if they should become too ill to care for themselves. Jerusalem means dwelling of peace. And with over 200 volunteers serving as receptionists, transportation assistants, house buddies, personal caregivers, and professional and board directors, this nonprofit agency is meeting the goals of their mission.
We have about 4,000 businesses and individuals who donate to Jerusalem House. Some of these people even donate their services. Probably about 70% of our volunteers give financially as well as their services to our organization. Without volunteers, we couldn't have provided the kind of care that's needed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Volunteers not only provide assistance answering the phone, but they also get very involved with the residents on a daily basis. We couldn't have afforded the kind of staffing needed. Last year alone, volunteers provided more than 13,000 hours of service, and we would not have had the resources to pay for that.
The Community Food Bank was founded on the mission to fight hunger. Presently, They supply almost 700 distribution feeding organizations.
Historically, we started out as a volunteer program with a pickup truck and several volunteers bringing in food, and never knowing that we would grow to a program this size. A lot of people think volunteers are free, but they're not. We have to put a tremendous investment in training them and nurturing them so that they'll come back and work. But it's an investment worth making.
We try to write good, clear job descriptions. For example, we have sorting volunteers who come in maybe once or twice for a 2 or 3 hour shift. And in that case, we try to focus on something they can learn in, say, half an hour. On the other hand, we have checkout volunteers who are coming in on a weekly basis, who every week they're updating our inventory, so we have to give them a lot better training.
These organizations are promoting new approaches to volunteerism by treating volunteers as staff or by having volunteers in leadership roles of agency programs. The mission of each of these organizations seems to be clearly defined and achieved by the volunteers. A significant contribution of money and volunteer time is provided to nonprofit organizations through corporations. Through the increasing establishment of corporate volunteer programs, companies encourage their employees to donate time and skills to the nonprofit sector. Advertising, public relations, legal, and other businesses are offering their knowledge free of charge.
You've got to find out how the volunteer wants to help your organization, because sometimes it can be a lot more beneficial than what you planned for them to do. We've got one volunteer who's just amazing. She's our CPA and she volunteers all of our accounting services. She's been here from the very beginning.
I'm a full-time volunteer, and I love the opportunity that it's providing me for my own personal growth, the opportunity to share my gifts and talents with the people that we serve, and also the people that I work with, the other volunteers. Something that I've noticed about myself and also about the volunteers that I work with is an intense desire to want to make a difference.
Alicia has really refined our volunteer program. She has acknowledged that volunteers are as valuable as real staff, as paid staff, and that we just don't have a casual relationship with them, that they are very important and integral part of our program.
In 1980, Goodwill Atlanta was facing financial problems. The organization was unsure if it could achieve its mission of helping people with disabilities find employment. The agency was still receiving a fair amount of donated goods, but much of it remained unsold, especially the books. One volunteer helped organize a large annual book sale. 13 years later, over $900,000 has been raised for the nonprofit agency. The book sale has become a great success story, still handled mostly by volunteers. These organizations retain volunteers for the long term because they have staffs that supply direction. The volunteers become a well-managed group of individuals that continue to care and work for the organization. The foundation has been laid, the structure is up, and now the organization can reap the benefits. There is a real diversity in the new type of volunteer. Some are assisting in the rural areas of the country. Others have chosen more urban locations. All are looking to put their skills and interests to work for the nonprofit sector. If we consider each volunteer as a piece of the puzzle, then now is the time to fit the pieces together to complete the picture. The value of the volunteer to the nonprofit organization is immeasurable.
Volunteers have been a part of our house from the very beginning. We've been operating for 5.5 years, and volunteers have assured that we've never had to worry about whether our doors would be open the next day or not. Volunteers have been out there raising funds for us, knocking on doors, bringing other supporters in, and have made sure that we're a stable organization.
The biggest benefit of our volunteers is that they provide a valuable service to our residents individually and to Jerusalem House as a whole. It also helps to broaden contacts in the community. Quite often, our volunteers will recruit other volunteers. They spread the good word that Jerusalem House is providing quality care and a loving place for people to live productively just as long as they can, and a place for them to die with dignity when that time comes. Volunteers are our ambassadors as well as the backbone of our organization.
Volunteers can help a nonprofit organization achieve their mission both economically and more efficiently. Discover new ways and opportunities of using volunteers. Think less traditionally and see what ideas your present volunteer staff may have in mind. Explore the options of involving families, youth, professionals, diverse groups, and retirees, because it is the total community you ultimately want to reach.
I think one of the most important things the volunteers take out of this is a new awareness of what homelessness is, what the problem is like, and what the solutions are, so that when they're choosing a candidate, when they're going to the voting booth, they can make a more informed decision, and they're really making a difference in that way as well.
Eventually, we want our volunteers to go back into the community. We want them to know where the food comes from and where it goes and why that system exists. We also want them to understand how public policy affects the people that we serve.
There's that thing that you can't put your finger on when a volunteer connects with a resident and they assume the role of the primary support person. It's magic, and there's no way you can ever measure it.
The volunteers of today can be seen through a myriad of windows, offering minds, offering hands, offering hope. The volunteer enterprise challenges you to open the windows and explore the opportunities.